Members of the African intelligentsia, I greet you. We have breaking news. President Donald Trump has dispatched an envoy to Burkina Faso. And I read a press release from a Burkina Faso national news outlet. It reads, cooperation between Burkina Faso and the United States. President Trump sends an emissary to Ouagadougou. At the initiative of President Donald Trump, the U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for West Africa, Mr. Will Stevens, visited the Burkinabe capital on Tuesday, May 27th. In the evening, he was received by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Regional Cooperation, and Burkinabe abroad. The American envoy said he came to reiterate the United States' commitment to rebuilding solid cooperation with Burkina Faso. Quote, I come today with a message from President Donald Trump, which is to work together to build a pragmatic relationship based on mutual respect and respect for each country's sovereignty. We can collaborate with each other, work together to face challenges and improve our relations, he said. With the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the aim was to explore different areas and opportunities for cooperation to consolidate relations between the two partners, with several prospects for cooperation, including the strengthening of trade relations and cooperation on the security front. Minister Karamoko Jean-Marie Traoré welcomed this approach by the American president, who seemed to understand the need to send an emissary to the field to obtain first-hand information. The head of Burkinabe diplomacy also provided clarifications on the vision and principles that now guide the Burkinabe state in its cooperation relations, maintaining that the Burkinabe authorities are committed to building strategic partnerships that enable the building of a sovereign nation. As Burkinabe, as Sahelians, and as Africans, the foreign minister said, we want mutual respect for our sovereignty. Africa is a continent like any other, and Africans are human beings like any other. We want a change of outlook and reading, that we understand each other, that we avoid frustrating speeches, and build our relations on an egalitarian principle. The Burkinabe head of diplomacy suggested to the American emissary, while welcoming the fact that the Trump administration is beginning to understand this vision. On the security issue, Minister Traore expressed regret that in this context, certain countries, including the United States, based on principles and refusing to acknowledge the realities on the ground, prevent countries suffering from terrorism from acquiring war material and equipment. In response, the U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, in office since January 2025, promised to personally invest in unblocking this situation and to enable significant progress in the fight against terrorism and its financing in the subregion. Asked how he reacted to General Langley's comments on Burkina Faso, which have sparked strong reactions around the world, the American envoy suggested that he was there to, quote, send a positive message to restore mutual trust and to stimulate a new dynamic of cooperation between Ouagadougou and Washington. And that's where the press release ends. So, members of the African intelligentsia, you see here the U.S. Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for West Africa, Mr. Will Stevens, shaking hands with the Burkinabe uh, Foreign Minister, Mr. Jean-Marie Traoré, Karamoko Jean-Marie Traoré. And it sounds like the foreign minister was very frank with the issues Burkina Faso has in its relations with the United States, not allowing them to be able to purchase weapons, and in general, the disparaging speeches and remarks, the rhetoric that comes from the United States government and its mouthpieces, its envoys, civilian and military envoys, and the speeches they tend to make, the accusations, and you hear the remarks that Langley made come up at the end of this press release as well. And so this new American envoy is saying that he's here to fix all of that. He's saying that he's here to rewrite the script, as it were. He's here to change the dynamic in the way the United States relates to Burkina Faso. So this is a very interesting development coming on the heels of the interview General Langley gave to Kenyan television, saying that he stood by his remarks uh, and the accusations that he made against Captain Ibrahim Traore. So, yes, this is an interesting development. We wait to see what unfolds in the coming days. And here you see some of the remarks in the comment section under the press release. We'll have to be careful with these people. No, you shouldn't have accepted an undersecretary. They are not to be trusted. All precautions must be taken just in case. And one person is concluding that, well, Trump respects the strong. So, if I were a Burkinabe official of foreign affairs, um, my first question to this envoy would be, why is your government still actively preparing to invade the Sahel? That would be my first question. But let's see what happens. Let's see what the response of Captain Traore himself will be to this diplomatic overture. Let's see if by his assessment it passes the smell test.